Namaste. Through this video, we will discuss about the techniques involved in time and motion study. But before going through this particular video, it is advisable to go through the video on time and motion study which had already been discussed and posted on this particular channel. Let us proceed to the next slide, where we will discuss about the techniques involved in the time and motion study, and we will see that there are 6 different techniques which is used to conduct time and motion study in Housekeeping Department of Hotel and various similar organizations. These techniques are involved for calculating time and motion study where the task or the work is carried out manually. At least it is mixture of using machine and doing the work manually. So let us see techniques. We will take up two techniques at a time, and all together today we will be discussing about 6 different techniques. First 2 techniques are pathway chart and process chart. The third and the fourth techniques are operation chart and microfilm analysis, whereas the fifth and the sixth techniques are cyclography and chronocyclography. Let us try to understand this one by one, and first we will discuss about pathway chart. In this method, a floor plan of the work area or room is drawn to the scale and is fixed to a board on the wall. Some pins and strings of threads are required to make such a study. At the starting point of the work, one pin is inserted to the board. Thread is used to indicate the line of the motion, and at each turning point a pin is put in the plane and the thread is wound around it. So this is what is done in pathway chart. Let us understand this particular process in still better way before we proceed to the next technique. After completion of the task, the length of the thread is measured. So what you do? We draw a layout diagram to the scale. Once we draw it, from wherever we are starting, we put a pin, until where the person will move and stop. We'll put a second pin at that particular time. Then from there a person will move from that point, say, to a third point. So we'll put a pin at a third point, and what we will do, we'll try to take a thread and pass it on as the person is moving, assuming the person is moving in this particular chart. And then we measure the total length, and that is how we try to conduct the time and motion study. This gives an idea of the distance covered by the employee, and the time taken is also noted down. So this is what happens in the first type or first techniques which is involved in time and motion study. Now let us understand the second process, which is the process chart. In this technique, a close study of the process adopted is carried out and the flow of activity is closely studied. A record of the time taken to finish the task is kept, and all unnecessary movements and the steps are then listed down so as to be avoided in the final process adopted. And this is what happens in the second technique, which is the process chart. Now let us proceed to the next slide. And in this particular slide, we will discuss first about the third technique involved in time and motion study. And as you can already see on your screen, the third one is operation chart. Now what happens in this one? This is used to make a detailed study of a part of the activity of a work process. This technique helps one to track out all unnecessary expenditure of time and energy in all activities. This chart, movements of both hands, right and left, are studied in great detail while doing one task. And by the finer analysis, it can be easily known where unnecessary movement are being made and where the delays are occurring in the job. So here we need to understand the main important thing which says in this chart, the movements of both hands, that is right and left, are studied in great detail while doing one task. So important thing is study of the movement of the hand in this particular process or this particular techniques which involves the time and motion study process. As you can see in the image now about the bed making process, and you can see the movement of hand. Let us proceed to the next slide. And in this particular slide, we will discuss about the fourth technique involved in time and motion study, and the fourth technique is microfilm analysis. In this technique, motion picture of tasks done under normal condition are taken. So a motion picture is taken, then it is analyzed to study the finer movements of the hands and other parts of the body. A timing device may also be used to help for recording the time of the movement of the worker to complete the job. And nowadays, if you want to do this practically, and suppose you don't have the camera and all, even if you want, you can do a small study using your mobile where you have the video camera. You can use your mobile to take the video and then you can do analysis. And timer, you have timer on your mobile. So using a gadget like mobile, you can try studying this. Although for microfilming, we use a camera which is technically an advanced camera. However, let us proceed to the fifth technique, and that is known as cyclography technique. This is also a technique that uses filming. Here, a bulb is attached to the worker's body, maybe the hand, the leg or the back. So it depends on the type of study and the nature of work for which you want to do the time and motion study. You attach the bulb on the body, on the hand or on the leg. As the body or the body part so highlighted moves during the activity, the path taken is lighted by the electric bulb and hence easily captured by slow photography. So this is again a technique where slow photography is used. Analysis of the resulting photographic record of movements can show whether the movements are smooth and rhythmic or not. This is an effective way to learn how motions may be reduced and how methods of work may be improved while doing the task. Now, this particular technique is not very common in India. However, this is also one of the techniques which is involved in time and motion study. And since we are discussing about the techniques involved, we need to discuss about the cyclography technique of time and motion study as well. And now we will discuss the last technique which we wanted to cover under this particular topic in this video. And that particular point, as all of you know, is chronocyclography. So we will discuss about chronocyclography techniques of time and motion study. In this method, small lights are attached to the middle finger on each hand, and the patterns of movement during a task are recorded on photographic film and analyzed. Unnecessary or arrhythmic movements are eliminated or improved upon. And as discussed in the previous slide, this slide also I would like to point it out here that we don't use this technique much in Indian context. However, since we are discussing about techniques involved in studying the time and motion study, we need to know about this process as well. And with this, we have discussed about 6 different techniques involved in time and motion study. Now let us conclude whatever we have studied. So we have studied, which is also inclusive of what we have done in the video of time and motion study. What we have studied? Work study is a generic term for those techniques which are used in examination of human work in all its aspects and which has led systematically to the investigation of all the factors which affect the efficiency and economy of the situation being reviewed in order to effect improvement. Motion study is a part of method study where analysis of motion of an operator or work is studied by following the prescribed method like use of human body, arrangement of workplace, and as you can see on your screen, the last one, design of tools and equipments. So these are the things which we have already discussed, but for this you also need to refer the previous video on time and motion study, and it is very relevant to discuss this once again here while discussing about the techniques. Although these are not directly related to techniques, but techniques are used for time and motion study, and hence we need to discuss this in conclusion once again. Now let us proceed to the last slide of today's discussion, and again the term conclusion continues, and here we'll discuss about time study once again. The time study is the fundamental technique in work measurement. The first step is to select the task with its performance method clearly defined. This method is evaluated practically many times by performing it. The whole work is repeated several times and the time recorded each time in order to arrive at an average figure. And let us recall once again, we have discussed that work study can be divided into 2 different types of study, the method study and the work measurement. Method study is also called as motion study, and work measurement is also called as time study. And once when you do study, you increase the productivity or the efficiency of the employees in the hotel. So with that, we came to an end of this particular video where we have discussed about techniques involved in time and motion study. With that, we close this particular video. We will meet yet in another video on some other topic. Till then, bye bye. Take care. Have a nice day.